started with open data because we wanted to be accountable. There was a matter of accountability. Government wanted to be accountable to the taxpayer, hence it needed to be more open. Open data is the currency of transparency. You cannot be transparent without providing something in an open way, in a format that is not bound by any specific software, etc. I cannot force you to use something in order for me to be transparent. So hence, open data became the landmark case for the UK and its attempt to embrace in a wider way open government. Now, to talk about our experience, first probably it would be better to talk about what it has done for us. So for example, in the United Kingdom, you can find online the salary of every single public servant. And for senior public servants, you can find their names. You can find a list of all of the senior civil servants who make more than the Prime Minister. Not that many, but still, you can find it there. You can find every single contract met by the government, and you can also find the cost. You can find reports on how it's doing. And you can find also reports on where the money came from, which cost center was responsible for that. These were the first waves of transparency in the United Kingdom, supported by Data of the UK, Open Data Portal, and many other countries are attempting to establish an Open Data Portal where people can go and download data in an open format, that so they can do things, and armchair auditors will come and take it to task. That didn't necessarily work out as well as we thought. To be honest with you, the element of the public taking responsibility is something that we have come to realize is very important. So we as government take a position to say, here is our data, use it, have it, tell us what's wrong with it so we can fix it. Let's make something more out of it, and the taxpayer, the citizen, has to somehow take that, embrace it, and take us to task. It's a two-way road, and we're working to that second aspect. So for example, we have over 265 services and applications using this data in the UK. We have over 500 companies using our data, where more than 20% to 45% of their budgets are based on the use of the data we provide. We have, for example, savings on services sort of like the NHS, 200 million a year, and several local authorities are finding out that there are other ways of saving. Good examples is, for example, getting crowdsourced data. So we publish data where, for example, snowplows. I think snow will be a very common thing around here, but snowplows in the UK, they go to different roads where they think the traffic is slowest. Some local authorities have published that data openly, and citizens actually take it, put it on a map, and then they can actually say, this is where we need it. So local authorities began to compare what they were sending them to what people were saying that was needed, and beginning to shift from where the snowplows went to actually go to the roads that were needed, because the citizen was telling us this is where the problem is. So even small changes in how we provide services have been linked to the fact that if you publish it openly, people will do things with it and then come back to you with either suggestions or demands in terms of the service not being focused where it needs to be focused. And that has helped us at the local level. We need to realize that as austerity is a common theme across Europe and some parts of the world, as we need to find to do more with less, opening up data is allowing us to get participation from the citizens who are quite concerned about in their daily lives, companies who actually want to use this data to come up with better services both for us, government, and the citizen. And open data becomes a very nice environment in which that conversation can take place. Interestingly, for example, procurement. It's a big area. I think every single country sees this every area. One of the things we have done is embrace the open contracting standards for the World Bank. And one of the things we are also doing is putting transparency as a condition of the contract. So with the government contracts something, the condition is that A, the data comes back to us, and it comes back to us in open standard. We retain the right to data for every single contract the government lets, plus certain conditions on transparency to the company that is going back. So have to say what you're doing. You will have to declare what's happening. So that is sort of like the basic of the building blocks that put us through the road of open data and transparency. Then we began to create the drivers. One of them was the Open Data Institute, which I think is quite active also in Malaysia. And the idea was to create entities that could help foster the use of open data and the need of open data. They are a tremendous amount of startups in the UK. All of them using the data services. So the portal, for example, is beginning to get more complex technical services so people can use the data. We also have companies helping us with the quality of data. The quality that was mentioned by the Minister, a tremendous problem, and something we're trying to address because we really don't know what we have. It's amazing, government makes a lot of decisions, and sometimes we wonder, based on what data, because when we ask our colleagues here across government, so what do you use to do that? Can I have that data? They say, what data? Or if they find it and give it to you in a state where you say, there's no way that you could have made a decision based on this data. No way. So it has also created a change in society. So we are now working internally to create a data sharing infrastructure. So government departments can share data on infrastructure. We have certain legal limitations to that. We're working with it. And also data science, so we can train civil servants into the fact that they need to use data to evidence the policy that changes on data, which is a tremendous change in government. Okay? So we are the worst users of data in government. We're trying to change that so we become the primary users of data. That's going to take time. But as you do that, you need to change. And open data at the very end is a behavioral change project for society and for governments. Right? It is not something you can impose, it's something you embrace, it's something you learn from. And that has been the biggest experience we have had in the UK, is that it is the embracing of the principles and the doing that gets there, not the enforcing it as such, although you sometimes have to enforce it, but that power came out of when people realized, hang on a minute, if I give you this data, you're going to do that, but that's going to save me money. Great. And they stay there. So within that framework of opening up contracts, the framework of being accountable in terms of procurement, the framework of being accountable in terms of the civil service and how people behave, the accountability on the parliamentary expenditures, for example, for MPs, members of parliament. When you combine all that, when you bring it all together, what has been our experience is that A, start it, do it, don't ask questions, don't think too much about it. It is the right thing to do, just do it. Prepare to be disappointed, because you need to try several times, as they say that in development, agile fail often and fail fast. So don't be afraid of trying it. But we have to learn that the hard way. Sometimes do it and learn from whatever fails, and then keep doing it again. That's the got us to where we are. It was not a philosophical analysis of how marketplace might be, or a great aspiration of change. It's more of a need to change, the immediate need to change, which we embraced as much as we have latitude within our cultural structure. We went the extra mile on this, because it was better to look backwards than to get short of the goal. So overarchingly, the United Kingdom is where it's at because A, we believed in it, B, because we changed with it. So, and those are the two main things I tell them anywhere I go is A, you have to believe that it is good. You have to embrace something like this. But B, you have to change with it. It is not something you put in place and say, we're going to look like that. Because it's going to change so much along the way. So you change with it. And that flexibility is probably the greatest benefit that the UK has derived from this agenda. And lastly, one of the biggest things that we have gotten as a benefit is to see an emerging market of startups new set of opportunities, new careers, data analysts, things that most of us wouldn't have dreamed was career are emerging as viable ways, and this richness is creating what we call Silicon Roundabout, our technical space in the UK, and it's creating this marvelous set of energies, this conversation between government and citizens for prosperity. This sense that, yes, we can get there. And it is being driven by data. It is being driven by that openness, the sincerity of saying, look, let's try this. I'll give you the stuff, you do something with it, we have a conversation, and I'll try to make it better. And that sincerity has been amazing in this course. And it will continue.